October is over. We have 2 more months remaining in 2025. Isn't that insane? Well, today I'm going to rank the 6 October new releases I saw. Before I dive in, please make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell. Comment down below what are your opinions on the movies that you saw. What's your ranking of them? How many did you see? I saw 6, which was better than I thought I would do. This was not a good month for me. Not only personally, just some things going on, but I was just so busy I couldn't nearly watch enough horror movies or movies in general. I only saw like 13 movies this month. Normally I average about 20, so it was just a slower month for me. And the new releases that came out weren't even that good, in my opinion. I wasn't a big fan of this month. It's probably my least favorite month of the year for movies so far. But how do I rank them? With that said, coming in last place, number 6, the new Yorgos Lanthimos film, Begonia. This is a film that, very disappointing. In case you can't tell, everybody's buzzing about the movie. Everybody's saying it's one of the best movies of the year. I went in hoping I would think it's one of the best movies of the year, and I loved the chemistry between Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone. Them bouncing off each other throughout the whole film was really fun and kind of intense. Really intense. The movie has scenes that are just awesome. A certain scene near the end, about a 20-minute sequence, is just awesome. It is intense. It has cool ideas in here. I love the direction Yorgos Lanthimos puts in the movie, but overall, it just falls flat because we enter the third act and it gets so goofy where you literally have a character shove a shotgun down his pants and then a guy who would stop him being over there, like literally probably just about as close as I am to the camera, and just not notice it, which obviously would never happen, especially in the context of when that situation happens. But then you got the final scene of the movie, which feels like it could have just ended at any point, and it just kept going on, and gets over-explained and over-goofy. Goofy has to be the word I gotta say, because it just turns goofy. And when it turns goofy, it's not as entertaining or it's not as intense or real, because when I was sticking with the movie, it had those moments of intensity of realism, and then it just turns into Looney Tunes. Also, another thing I didn't mention in my review that I wish I would have, the story itself, where they kidnap someone, think she's an alien, that's a good story, but like the side plot while they're doing this, why they think she's an alien, is really confusing, in my opinion. It kept feeling like they kept leaving breadcrumbs and not any answers. Like leaving breadcrumbs, but not any answers. Several times in the movie, there's this character that says, "Hey man, I'm sorry for what I did to you in the past." Probably 10 times in the movie, we never find out what he did. We never find out what he did in the past. No, it's just 10 times, "Hey man, I'm really sorry." But we get no answers. And so it's very frustrating. And by the time I left the theater, I'm like, ugh, I didn't really like that. And I'm not so sure I want to check out any more Yorgos Lanthimos films. So a pretty big disappointment in my opinion. Another pretty big disappointment for me, Shelby Oaks, Chris Stuckman's first film. Now, two-thirds of this movie I was loving. I loved 2/3 of this movie. The idea to blend a murder mystery with like murder documentary stuff with found footage was just a great idea. I love that idea. It really felt like I was watching a documentary of a real life mystery that, and the direction was awesome. And I was really enjoying it. I really enjoyed the characters. I really enjoyed going on this mystery with them. I was really invested in the story and wanted to know the results. So 2/3 of the movie I thought was great. And then we get to the third act. And apparently, I gotta say it's a spoiler warning, because I have some people telling me it was a spoiler. I don't consider it a spoiler, because it's done in a little bit of a different fashion, but I compare the movie to Hereditary, because it does a Hereditary thing, where, oh, there's a demon, and he's using these characters to get to what he wants the whole time. Hereditary started that trend, and now, it seems like half of the horror movies we get nowadays are Hereditary, do the exact same Hereditary thing. And it gets old. For a movie like this that felt so original and so unique for a big moment of it, all of a sudden turning into just another generic, oh, I've seen that Hereditary before, I left extremely frustrated. So a movie that I could have absolutely fallen in love with, this could be in my top 10 of the year, fell apart, just like Begonia, because of a really struggled third act. My number 4, Tron Ares. I got the popcorn bucket right here. Really cool popcorn bucket. I'm going to show it off real quick. It's like an arcade machine. You got the lights. You can flick the lights off back here. They turn on and off. Shout out my mom for buying me this popcorn bucket. Unfortunately, the buttons don't do anything. It would really be cool if they made a sound. But I went into Tron Ares for 2 reasons. Big, gigantic visuals that are just awesome to see on an IMAX screen, and an amazing score that is awesome to hear in an IMAX theater. And that's exactly what I got out of the movie. The visuals are amazing, several sequences that just took my breath away, and the music is bumping. I've listened to it pretty much non-stop since seeing the movie. Not Ice Nine Kills. 9 Inch Nails is phenomenal at making the soundtrack here. It's just a really good soundtrack with really cool visuals. It pretty much gave me the experience I wanted from Tron Ares. It basically was exactly what I wanted. Which to say, the story is not really like the most memorable. It's very Disney-ified, if that makes sense. Like, you watch any live-action remake, and it's like, it's a MacGuffin story, and they're gotta get this one thing before the bad guys do. So it felt very Disney-fied, but also, like, we get a little dark some places where a character watches important family member to him just die right in front of him, and it's all his fault, and it just gets so dark. But then the very next sequence is Jared Leto talking about a popular 80s punk rock band. Like, very Disney-ified, but also trying to be edgy at the same time. The story, the MacGuffin plot, wasn't all that compelling, but when we had the visuals and the music, I had a lot of fun with the movie. Number 3, The Black Phone 2. Now, this is my most anticipated movie for the remainder of the year. Now, my most anticipated movies for the remainder of the year come out this week and next week. I'm filming it right now. I will have seen Predator Badlands by the time this video gets out, and that will be my next video, my review. That's on there, and then The Running Man. But this was my most anticipated movie for the rest of the year, for fall. And I gotta say, I enjoyed it, but it also did have some pretty big script problems. What I wanted out of this movie was some really cool set pieces. In the trailer, I saw some really cool set pieces. I saw the grabber on ice skates, going in people's dreams, going crazy. And when it gets to that, it very much delivers. One thing I loved about it is you can pretty much take this movie on its own standards. And if you didn't like it, I feel like you can easily pretend like it doesn't exist. Part of it feels like it's fan fiction. And I'm kind of all here for that because some of the ideas they represented in the second and third acts really were interesting. But also, I really did enjoy those ideas. I enjoyed, like, hey, what if this happens? Or what if this is part of the lore? And it's a movie that expands the lore of the grabber a little bit. And I really did enjoy that aspect to it, combined with, when we get to the grabber sequences, some really intense horror sequences that I thought were really cool. The dream sequences and the real life sequences, the way they were visually separated, I thought was really cool. The cast, Mason Thames, I'll talk about him in the next movie I'm going to talk about, is really good in this movie. But the standout for me is Madeline McGraw. Pretty much because she needs to be the standout here, because pretty much she's the main character. Ethan Hawke is a grabber, obviously very cool. My issue with here is the script. There is some issues. How we get to this winter Christian camp is just really convoluted and really weird, where we're having Mason Thames' character jump out of the snowy car to listen to a female cover of the Pink Floyd song, the Bricks in the Wall song, while running so they could see him in the headlights in very snowy weather. It's like goofy. It's really goofy, and it doesn't quite make sense how they get here. And like I said, it does go for it at times, like to the point to where it feels very fan fiction-y. And if you love that first movie, I didn't love the first movie. I liked it. I didn't love it. If you like flat out loved the first movie, I think that some decisions here are going to taint your love for the first movie. They didn't to me because I didn't love the first movie. In fact, I think this movie is a little bit better than the first movie, but this goofy scenes and a couple script issues hold it back from being a really great movie. It still was a pretty good movie, all in all. My runner-up, Regretting You. Now, when I saw the trailer, I definitely wouldn't have thought that this would be my runner-up for the month. I definitely wouldn't have thought that I'd be affected by this movie as much as I was. but I really enjoyed Regretting You. I'm not the kind of person to absolutely fall in love with romance movies, but if you get like a really compelling one, I'll like it. And this was a really compelling one for me. The chemistry between Mason Thames and McKenna Grace is just excellent. And I think out of every couple that we've seen this year, I think this is the best one. I really, really did love their chemistry in the movie, and it's pretty obvious that they have great chemistry because I believe they are dating in real life. Dave Franco, Allison Williams don't have as good of a chemistry as they do, but they are still pretty good here. And I will admit, their romance in the movie was a little bit weird. I am going to say, the writer of the book, Colleen Hoover, gets a lot of controversy for her weird romantic scenes. And I will say that her next movie coming out, which is the movie where a woman kills her boyfriend by getting in a car accident, and then she falls in love with her ex-boyfriend, because he's dead, brother, where they get into a relationship. Weird. Really weird. But I will say that romance was a little bit odd, but still, it worked for the movie itself. So it's just kind of like a nice, feel-good romantic movie, and it kind of really made me feel something. And it's kind of weird to say that, because it is just a typical romantic movie. But the chemistry between the characters, the music, which I think is actually really good in here, and just the overall romantic vibe honestly made me feel something, which is kind of crazy because it doesn't really do anything overall that special. It's just a nice, feel-good movie, and I really enjoyed it. Now, obviously, the script does have a few issues, blah, 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 but I think if you like movies like this, you're going to love this one. And honestly, I really enjoyed this one, and it is in my top 20 of the year because for the next couple of days, I couldn't stop thinking about it. And it's hard to explain, but the reason is because it just made me feel good. The movie just made me feel good. And, now, I really hope she's not watching, but this girl I like, me and her are actually going to see the movie again this Saturday. So, we'll see how that goes. But anyways, Regretting You, one of the biggest surprises of the year. I actually really, really dug this movie. And I think if you like the genre, you will too. But my number one movie of the month is Roofman, a movie that I saw the trailer and I thought, okay, doesn't look that good. And then I watched the movie, and it's not a non-stop action comedy movie that never slows down like the trailer implied. It's a slow character study. And I really loved the character study here. The majority of the movie is just Channing Tatum and Kirsten Dunst hanging out and doing things. It's what the movie is. But we're pretty much studying the character that Channing Tatum plays, the real-life character of the guy who robbed McDonald's, hid out in Toys R Us after escaping prison. Crazy story, by the way. But I really enjoyed their relationship in the movie. Another really good relationship this year. But also just the character study and the slowness of the movie. You don't see very many movies that just take it slow. In fact, my mom said that the movie was boring. Me and my brother really enjoyed it, but I love just how slow we took things. We expanded everything. We're just taking time to hang out with these characters, and there is a chunk of the movie where nothing really happens, and I could see where people can get bored with that, but I really enjoyed it. And then, not to mention, when we get to the intensity, there is so many intense sequences because of the nature of the story, and a lot of edge-on-your-seat sequences, and it's funny. It genuinely is funny. Numerous laugh-out-loud moments. The cast, they all have great chemistry. Peter Dinklage has the best line delivery of the year out of any movie for me. But you have that. And then also, like, your finale. It's not some big grand bang finale like the trailers might imply. It's kind of just slow and emotional. And the movie has some really solid emotions, which is surprising because based off the trailers, I wouldn't have guessed any of that. So, Roofman ended up being one of the most surprising movies of the year for me, just like Regretting You, and ended up being my favorite movie of the month. It's in my top 15 of the year. Roofman is really good, and it's not often that we get a movie that is not afraid to take its time to expand its story. Alright guys, stay tuned for a Predator Badlands review coming very, very soon, and with that said, subscribe.